The information shared on this program is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice, nor as a recommendation of any specific investment product or financial instrument. Always consult your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant regarding your own situation. All client reviews or spotlight segments are unpaid testimonials from current clients of Tony Walker Financial. Individual experiences will vary, are not representative of all clients, and are not a guarantee of future results or success.
Did you ever wonder why so many advisors are pitching so many products, but nobody seems to be sharing with you a process and how best to use those products? Well, stay tuned today on the Worry-Free Retirement, where we are going to take a deep dive into something I call the Worry-Free Retirement Process, a 5-step process designed specifically to help savers worry less about money. So if you're a saver, retired, or nearing retirement, stay tuned. You're going to enjoy this show.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. The Worry-Free Retirement with your host, 6-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
You know, 20 plus years ago, I began my quest to figure out how to create a process that, number one, was simple, and number two, was easy for savers to understand in terms of this transition from work to retirement. And with me in the studio to go down memory lane and now to also talk about where we are in 2026 at Tony Walker Financial is my favorite son-in-law, Mr. Trey Juergens, here in the Louisville office. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're welcome. And for those who aren't familiar with our process here, we have a marketing team. We meet every Tuesday morning, of which you're on that team. Matt Stebbins, Gina Tutwiler, Simeon Ambergy, and yourself and me. We just sit around and kind of hash things out. And I think what we realized is it's been a while since we've really dove into the process, the worry-free retirement process, where it all began, where it is now, the growth of Tony Walker Financial, and how, to me, and I hate to be braggadocious about us, it's still so unique from the rest of the financial world. So before we go into the history of the process, how would you've been with us, what now, 9 years now?
Correct.
How would you describe this process to somebody? If somebody stopped you on the street and said, hey, Trey, what's so different about Tony Walker Financial from the rest of the herd? And what's all this stuff about process?
I mean, I've learned this industry because of the process. So all of our advisors are process trained. We're not out there slinging products, but unfortunately, now that we know how unique our process is, we see the opposite. We see people that come in, they've transactionally purchased a product or some investment that was supposed to be the next greatest thing, but it wasn't fit for them. There was no game plan in place. And with our process, from that initial phone call or first appointment, we have a very unique way of learning about these prospective clients, these savers, and putting a plan in place that's going to check all the boxes. As you've built out this process over decades and decades, I know you've got books scattered in front of you that help you put together our own book about the worry-free retirement process, but it really is a process. There's no set it and forget it retirement plan. We're always monitoring the progress as we go.
In fact, a couple of books I grabbed off the shelf back in the day. Now it seemed like between the late 90s and around 2005, I got on this kick. I don't know why. I can't remember what gave me the impetus, but going to conferences, all these random conferences, and Strategic Coach and Brian Tracy and Leap. And what I got in the habit of, I would buy a marketing book or a book that was kind of outside the box on what the industry was doing. Okay, so I'd buy the book. I'd tell Susan, hey, I'm going to this conference. I'll be back in 2 days. And the goal was I would read this book because, you got airport dead time, on the airplane, in the hotel at night. Read one book, and as many conferences I went to, they just started accumulating.
Still to come on the Worry-Free Retirement.
Here was the key. I thought this was pretty astute, and I didn't even know what I was talking about back then. But so my process, so my customers can tell others.
With the stock market at all-time highs, our nation's debt through the roof, and inflation racing out of control, now may be the best time to consider safeguarding your money. That's why I'm offering to review your 401k and other retirement accounts to be sure that you aren't taking too much risk and you're not going to run out of money. To set up your free meeting with me, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
if you don't mind what I'll do, Trey, and again, I'm just glancing over this book. This one's called The Purple Cow. And there was a copyright on this thing. It's probably 15 years old. But what I would do is I'd read it, Trey. I would go through and make some remarks. And here, this is interesting. This was a comment I made from reading inside this book. I said, with my new processes, see, I was already trying to think of these processes. I must, see, this is where a process, folks, you have to have the consumer in mind. Who are you trying to communicate with, which we decided back then was savers. I must spell out, and I even wrote parentheses on this, 1, 2, 3, see all these scribbles here? The benefits of my process. Here was the key. I thought this was pretty astute, and I didn't even know what I was talking about back then. But so my process, so my customers can tell others. Okay, what are we seeing right now at this stage of the game? I know we do a lot of advertising, but how many people are coming to us through the referral of others?
I mean, that's probably one of our biggest sources right now of anybody that calls in is so-and-so. I worked with them for 20 years. They started working with you and they told me to give you a call. Well, these referrals are great.
Oh, we're getting more and more of them. But going back to our process, people can say they have a process all day long, but back to this, let me repeat this. I must spell out 1, 2, 3, the benefits of my process so my customers can tell others. I like this quote too. We've got a brand. So now the Worry-Free Retirement is a brand. It's a process. It's a trademark process. People know us by that. Even the old TV show was the Worry-Free Retirement. We still call the radio show the Worry-Free Retirement. But listen to this. A brand is nothing more than an idea. Good ideas are like viruses. They spread. So if you think about our process, back to referrals. Now, we hate to bring up viruses, I guess, but it makes sense. People even went to that retirement party. You know, I told you about the retirement party for one of my clients. One of the persons there that I said hello to, you'll love this story, Trey. He said that, ironically, he said I'd talked to 2 other advisors in Louisville. Basically, they said I was okay. He let them look at their stuff. I was getting ready to contact you. This was like a week prior to the retirement. He was telling me this at the retirement party. But he said, I already talked to 2 people that were pretty well known. They said I'm okay. So I decided not to talk to you. Well, now here I am showing up at the retirement party, and I talked to him for a minute, and all I said was, well, what would it hurt to get a second opinion? And he goes, well, I guess nothing. Guess who was in here yesterday?
He showed up.
And I cannot wait to show him because he didn't bring in any game plans. He brought in his statements, and he got these verbal acumens of you're doing fine. There's no game plan. So I told him, I said, I cannot wait to meet you in 3 weeks because you're going to see something you've never seen, a process that's laid out, that's simple and easy to understand because he was referred also by this person that's a client.
Yeah, speaking of, just this past weekend, we had several people reach out. They filled out the Let's Get Started form on the website, which you had a busy Monday morning, so I made some calls and learned a little bit more about their situation. What was really cool is 3 of these, I think 5 or 6 that I called, had already printed and started filling out that starter kit. They were already gathering statements from previous employers, their current 401k, their spouse's plans, and they were really starting to go through the exercise of helping us help them. And committing to going through the process is just that. We need these savers to help us with full statements, better understanding their situation, as you say, taking their financial clothes off. As fiduciaries, we have to see all this to really make recommendations.
Well, go through that even in a little more detail. So what would be a problem if somebody, which we appreciate them doing this, they bring in a net worth statement and they've got everything itemized, but we kind of insist on statements. Some of them even occasionally they're a little put out with us, but why do we need the details of those statements in terms of the accuracy of this plan we're going to show them?
It's not often we make mistakes in our planning process, but it's typically the only situations if we've never had statements on the front end.
It almost always backfires, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we don't have full statements.
And of course, these folks come in, they want us to help, they want to see these game plans, and we're happy to put them together. But if all of a sudden a statement is actually in the spouse's name and it's a Roth, it's not an IRA, or it's in an account that's not a fiduciary account, it's a commission-based account, and it may incur large fees or penalties to get out. We have to see all this before we can make suitable recommendations. So people do get a little put out. They might have their own spreadsheets that they track all their accounts on, but unless we can see exactly how accounts are titled, what the positions are, maybe it's a shell brokerage account that also houses an annuity inside of there. We may never know those things unless we see the full statement.
And now some people might be saying, well, yeah, thanks a lot, Trey. I was getting ready to call you all, but I don't know where to find these statements. Someone came in yesterday. Go through that process. If somebody does come in and they're holding up their phone and they can't even get access to these statements, we will help them, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the digital world is being pushed on these savers like never before. The paper statements sometimes aren't even available. They haven't received them in years, decades. And if they can't access these accounts, we can assist them in doing that. We are not going to take their passwords and logins and go and do this on our own. We have to have them here to assist them with that. But it is, I know just last week we had somebody come in. She knew she didn't know how to get on there. We assisted her in accessing these. There were even inherited accounts that she didn't know she had because she was able to finally log in and see these accounts.
And really good stuff. You got a few minutes to stick around. We got to take a quick break because when we come back, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books I read on an airplane years ago called What Clients Love. Not only that, you're going to want to stay around because you're going to love this free offer we have. We've got a book called The Worry-Free Retirement Process. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about how you could possibly qualify for a free copy of the book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process. This is Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number at 877-499-9255.
Hi, this is Wendy Kelly here at Tony Walker Financial, and I wanted to share with you a recent mission statement moment that I experienced. I just spoke to one of our clients regarding her allocations. She received our recommendations, and then she called American Equity directly, which is who her annuity is with. And then she called me because she was scared she did it wrong. And so I explained to her that we typically take care of submitting them on behalf of our clients. So I offered to do a conference call with American Equity and her just to double check what she submitted, and she wanted to do that. So we took them about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and we did that. She was very grateful for the assistance, and I told her that we here at Tony Walker Financial, we pride ourselves on customer service and helping our clients in any way that we can. And she said, my husband has recently passed away, and I'm just trying to figure all this stuff out. She said, you all have been so helpful. She said, Tony Walker was the first person I talked to that made me feel better about things, and I didn't cry. And I told her that we're always glad to help out in any way that we can. And one way that we help our clients is to submit the allocations for them. When we mail our recommendations to the clients, we include a postage paid envelope. So all of our clients have to do is to sign and date the form and then pop it back in the mailbox. And then we'll take it from there. She was so grateful just knowing that we'll take care of her in the future. And it was such a blessing to me that we can help clients like this on a daily basis.
You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker.
Welcome back to The Worry-Free Retirement. We're talking about our trademark process called The Worry-Free Retirement, a 5-step process specifically designed years ago to help savers worry less about money. And to date, I have personally orchestrated and overseen more than 5,000 written game plans. Folks, I don't think you're going to get the owner of the company, somebody who's been doing this 42 years, has met in person with over 20,000 savers. You're going to meet with the owner. The owner, assuming you qualify for one of these free game plans, is going to lay out the game plan. And then the owner of the company, that's me, Tony Walker, is going to present the game plan. And with us in the studio is Mr. Trey Juergens. The reason Trey is sticking around here is because he's so good in the Louisville office at helping people that after they've seen the game plan, moving forward with those transactions. So good morning again, Trey, and welcome back into the studio.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So before we get into a little bit of the meat of this, and I want to talk about our book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process, Another one of my favorite books I read, Harry Beckwith. I mean, I just thought this guy was great. He was best-selling author of Selling the Invisible Touch. I've read all these books. Again, folks, a lot of people are coming out with stuff I've been talking about for years. You might say, well, Tony, what do you think you are, Mr. Creative? Well, not necessarily, but I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of my years learning from others, so I do feel like I've paid my dues in coming up with a lot of these ideas. But look at what Mr. Beckwith says in this book, What Clients Love. And this is what I was trying to work on and find information on to help me dive into this opportunity. His emphasis in the book is simplify everything. Simplify everything. He even said that image wins sometimes over reality. Talked about the Hong Kong tailors, how they have this image of the tailored suits and everything. But talk about the image we project with the worry-free retirement. So the reality is we're going to provide them a game plan, but the image of our staff, how many people we have, the image of the institution, the culture, this book we're going to talk about, the worry-free retirement process, how having that image of what they can even talk about. In fact, he even says, this was a neat one too, back to the image, and I don't think clients even think about this. He was suggesting that maybe what clients ought to do is list what they want from an advisor before you even go in and talk to an advisor. So, and I think that's trying to develop this image. Do you even have an image of what would be the perfect advisor for you? So speak to how we project that image and how we actually follow through on the image.
Yeah, I think what a lot of folks say after we present the plan is that they appreciate the time that goes into it and how serious we are in trying to help them. And the staff that they get to talk to along the way, it takes a lot of hours to put a plan together. And when a saver sees that our staff has put so much effort without making a dime yet
That's right.
into their situation, the service that they get to appreciate with our team, I mean, they really understand that. And several of the reviews even say they feel like they're treated like family. And it's really it's nice when people come in the door, they're greeted, they feel at home. We want them to feel at peace and knowing that we're here to help them. But it is a big decision to make. And when they see that we take all this time to put that game plan together, they just feel like we're really, truly here to help them.
Well, yeah, you think about it. You mentioned that. So let's take our time. So first of all, it's time and money to do marketing. So we have to put efforts into that. Right now, this show, this is technically costing us time. You know, we have to spend our time coming up with the idea. Simeon, we have to pay him to produce the show. We got to pay to put it on. So we've got an investment there. We're projecting an image. The second part is when they come in to meet with me, that's my time, okay? I've got to have at least 2 appointments with them. I might spend an hour putting the plan together. I have to go over it with the income planning department. The income planning department, if it's an involved case, could take 4 to 5 hours. People don't believe this. They think, I don't believe that. Oh, it does. This is brand new proprietary software we created years ago. We are trying to make it more efficient, but it is all hand done, specific to the client. This is not boilerplate calculators. So then they come back and have to present it. So yeah, we could have 5 to 7 hours in this, and I'm glad you mentioned that. We have not made a dime off of this. And I think I want clients, prospective clients, to know that I'm so confident in what we do. The image is we can follow through on this. A lot of people might project an image, but can they follow through? So maybe speak to that, Trey. Just our 5-star client reviews, the clients that come back in. I had the Thompsons in here the other day. I've been working with them 25 years. You know, they trust us. We're family. They know that. So speak to what people can project to see after they get through these initial meetings if they decide to work with us.
Yeah, I think the 5-star reviews and the referrals we continue to see are not by accident. I think it's people really appreciating the time and effort that goes in, but also the monitoring your progress. The fact that it's not a one-stop shop. You're not done with us after we put this plan together. What we do in reverse, I think the financial world leads with products. Mm-hmm. And once that product's sold, they make their money. We lead with a process. Of course, we have to utilize financial products to achieve the goals, but that's what clients really appreciate.
And let's talk about that, because this book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process, we were talking in our marketing meeting, and I think we realized it's gotten a little outdated, which I think is a good thing. As I think about it, Trey, it's outdated because we're making so much progress to keep our process fresh. We have newer products. This was dated in 2023, and we literally are saying, should we even still hand this out? And after glancing through it, I think we should. Yeah, there's a few things dated. I think, what did I say? I've got 12 employees. Now it's up to 20. What was something else you noted in here? Well, we've got fee-based annuities now. We didn't have those.
Yeah, the investment strategies have been updated, I think, 4 or 5 times since this was printed. But
even then, the Schwab, we didn't have, we've got like 420 million with Schwab, and we didn't have near that amount, 2,500 accounts or something. So, but in general, the process in general, we felt like, no, it's in here. It's the guts of it are still here. So I thought what we could do, Trey, for those radio listeners out there, this is a limited time. For the first, actually, we got to reorder these books. We're getting low on them. But I'm going to say for the first 25, it's going to be email. So here's what you need to do, folks. If you want a free copy of the Worry-Free Retirement Process, the first 25 people who email, let me give you the email, we'll get you a free copy. Now, by the way, we'll need your name and mailing address because we're going to mail you a hard copy of this book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process. So you need to email Gina, that's Gina, at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Tell her you want a free copy of the Worry-Free Retirement book, and the first 25 of you will get those. I promise you we're not going to show up on your doorstep or expect anything in return. But I think if you're a retired or nearing retirement, it would be good for you to thumb through this book and see what a process really looks like. And then also go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Maybe check out our 5-star reviews and really go through the website to see what a firm looks like that not only projects an image of trust and confidence, but proves it through the 5-star reviews we have and some of these long-term clients that will tell you, yep, we really do follow through on what we say we're going to
do. Here's a Tony Walker Financial 5-star review from Todd Wright. I have been met by friendly, informed fiduciaries. From the start, a plan was discussed and presented in a fully understandable manner and compiled in a binder for continued review. Tony and staff have been readily available to address any and all of my concerns, and I've had a few in these volatile times. To read this and other 5-star reviews, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
So you've worked 30 or 40 years slaving away at work so you can save away money into your 401k, and now you arrive at the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make, where to invest your 401k plan. Think about it. For all these years, you've had a steady paycheck, compliments from your employer for all of your hard work that you dedicated to them. But now, all of a sudden, you've got to figure out how to replace that paycheck with the money you've been saving. No wonder you're worried about what to do and who to trust with that money, which is why we at Tony Walker Financial are providing a brand new free service called the 10-Minute Fiduciary Phone Call. And here's how simple it is to learn more about our services and our 401k rollover process. First, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, click on the Let's Get Started button. You'll be taken to a page. Confidentially, you can fill out your information on the screen and then click below the best way for us to speak together. It could either be myself or one of our other trained fiduciaries. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Before you make a rash decision and blindly turn your money over to a complete stranger to invest, consider a name and a firm you can trust, Tony Walker Financial. And, oh, by the way, if you like, you can give us a call to speak to us at any time by phone by simply calling 877-499-9255.
Well, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, and on the program this morning is Mr. Vanjie Hawkins. Good morning, Vanjie.
Good morning.
And we appreciate you being on. And first of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you did for a living.
Yeah, Vanjie Hawkins. I live in Port Royal, Kentucky. That's in Henry County. And I worked for Kentucky Utilities generating station for 45 and a half years. And now I'm just retired. I retired January the 1st of this year. And I got a little farm here that now and then I'm just farming.
Doing some farming. I know I've called you a couple times trying to arrange this. Every time I call you, you're underneath that tractor. You enjoying that, or is it seeming like work again?
It's getting to be like work right now.
Well, I think you heard about Tony Walker Financial from your brother, if I'm not mistaken. Remind us how you heard about our offices.
Yes, he had already got with you, and I kind of asked him because I was getting ready to retire. And I also I started watching your TV show on Sunday mornings right before church, and I got to enjoying them, and I got to watching them a bunch, and then finally got up enough nerve to give you a call and told the wife we need to come down and see you.
Well, I know sometimes people I don't actually have the TV show on anymore, is on for years, and I think they're surprised that they do get to see me, but I think that's one thing that's unusual about our operation. But besides getting to meet me and me laying out the game plan for you, how's it been working with the staff at Tony Walker Financial?
Oh, the staff is great there. Anytime you call, they're willing to help, and they're at Louisville office and Bowling Green. I had no quarrels with them at all. It's been great working with your staff.
Well, was there any apprehension at all about retirement and maybe anything you're surprised about now that you're retired financially, maybe in terms of, you don't worry about money like you thought, or anything you could share with the audience for people, especially those maybe thinking about retiring, but maybe a little apprehensive to pull the trigger?
Yeah, when I decided I was going to retire, which I really wasn't decided because I didn't know if I had enough money to retire or anything like that. So I had got with a couple of the bigger financial companies and sat down with them and talked to them, and just I really didn't feel comfortable. Once I come down and talked to you, and you went over your game plan, and I watched it on TV, and everything just seemed to fit for me and my wife. And now it's great. I don't worry about the money like I thought I would.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, Vanjie, we appreciate you and Miss Hawkins doing business with us, and we hope you continue to enjoy retirement and try not to get under that tractor too much now, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care, sir.
Bye.
Hey folks, Tony Walker with a quick hitter here. We get questions all the time about retirement, and we're happy to answer those. Some people go to the website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Some people simply call us. That number's 877-499-9255. But here's a newbie. I love this. If you have a question for me, Tony Walker, why don't you just text it to me? Let me give you that number right now. The text number for questions for Tony is 502-429-3416. Let me repeat that. Text Tony your question on retirement, whether you're retired or nearing retirement, 502-429-3416.
Do you ever get the feeling that there are 1,000 channels and nothing good is on? Well, if that's you, let me tell you about the Tony Walker Financial YouTube channel, where you can learn how you can enjoy a truly worry-free retirement from a local team you can trust. Search YouTube for Tony Walker Financial, and once there, you will find resources on topics that matter most to you, like Social Security, annuities, 401ks. You can even search for specific topics to find the answers and information you're looking for. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell to be reminded when new videos are available. You can also visit TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click the Talk to Tony button to submit your own questions to Tony, or to schedule your free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with Tony himself. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, your local trusted resource for retirement planning.
We hope you've enjoyed today's program on the Worry-Free Retirement about our process. And again, maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're sitting there saying, well, yeah, what Tony and Trey were talking about is right on. I got products, or I got people pitching me products, but I have nothing in writing. I have no game plan. I have no way of knowing how much I'll owe in taxes. I got all these different buckets that people have set up for me, and I don't know which ones to draw from first. Or maybe you're that person that's retired or getting ready to retire, and maybe you still got a 401k sitting there at your former employer. That's no plan at all, folks. That's just a savings plan. That's not a game plan at all. So if you're retired, retiring soon, you're a saver, you're looking for a local retirement planning firm you can trust, why don't we do something unique to the industry? It's called the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, where you and I will talk by phone for just a few minutes, and if I think we can help, then you and I, that's right, the owner of the company, we're going to meet in person at either our Bowling Green or Louisville, Kentucky offices to lay out that free proprietary game plan that no other firm offers but Tony Walker Financial. So log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us anytime at 877-499-9255. Well, folks, that's all the time we have today. But you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.